welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'll bring you a case of another missing kid, and this one also happened in Portugal, but this time the kid is actually Portuguese. So let's just start this video. Rui Pedro Teixeira Mendonça was born on January 28th of 1987 in Lousada, and on March 4th of 1998 he went missing. So on that day, like after lunch, it was around 2 p.m. he went to ask his mother, who was working, she had an office, and he went there to ask her if he could go out with Afonso Dias, who is a 22-year-old man. Like, his mother didn't know who, like, I think she had heard about him, but she didn't actually know him. So of course she said, no, you can't go, and she told him to go play in the backyard of her office instead. And he went, he obeyed her, and he went. He was riding his bike and he went to play there. There was like a road that led to the backyard, but that road didn't have much traffic, so it was safe. That's what people thought, like it was safe for kids to be playing there because there was no traffic, and there was this was like a small town. Then later on that day, around 5 p.m. Rui Pedro's teacher alerted his parents that Rui had missed his tutor class, and this was not something that Rui usually did. Rui's teacher thought this was kind of odd because Rui never skipped any class, and if he had to miss it or because he was sick or something, he would always let him know, and he hadn't heard from him. So he decided to alert the parents, and immediately the parents started searching for him. So on that same day, around 3 p.m., a neighbor saw Rui Pedro's bike hiding in the backyard. It didn't seem that the bike was left there. It was hidden. So he thought that was odd, and so he told the parents. So his mother knew that he had planned to go out with Afonso. So they immediately tried to find him and find out where he lived. And when they did, they asked him if he knew where he was, if he had seen him. And he said very calmly that he has no idea where he is. Later, it was discovered that Rui wasn't alone in that backyard, but Afonso had been there as well, talking to him in his car. Afonso's brother had lent him his car for Afonso to take it to the mechanic shop to check if everything was fine. And let's just say that Afonso actually went to the mechanic shop. Maybe that was his alibi, and maybe he has nothing to do with Rui's disappearance. However, he was discovered that he never went to the mechanic shop as he was supposed to. Instead, he was driving around in unknown places. So Rui's grandfather offered everything that he owned to Afonso if he told him where Rui is. And Afonso didn't accept this and told him while crying that he has no idea where Rui is, but if they want to find him, they should close the borders. So you say you have no idea where the kid is, you haven't seen him, you don't know anything about his disappearance, but you say that if they want to find him, they should close the borders. I'm sorry, but you have to know something. That was really suspicious, because he said no, I don't know where he is, I have no idea what happened to him, but hey, if you want to find him, you should close the borders. Later on, Rui's cousin, Andre, he's around the same age as Rui, and he told his family that Afonso had invited him and his cousin to go to the prostitutes. Yes, exactly. He invited 11-year-old boys to go to the prostitutes. And Andre didn't go because his mother didn't let him leave the house, and thank God she didn't, because now we will probably be talking about two missing kids and not just one. But they had plans to meet in Quinta da Castilla and not on the backyard of the office. But before Andre told all of this, Afonso threatened him to not tell anyone because that would make him look suspicious, and it was better if Andre just kept his mouth shut. I'm sorry, buddy, but you look even more suspicious. So this man says he has nothing to do with it, but still he threatens the kid to not tell that he had plans with him to take them to the prostitutes. Like, man, you're making yourself looking even more suspicious than you already look. So during the night of March 4th and throughout the morning of March 5th, the search for Rui Pedro started. There were patrol dogs, there were firefighters, and all the family members and even members of the community who wanted to help. They were all involved in this search. Rui's godfather went to the police to report his disappearance, but they told him that they couldn't do anything and he had to go to the judge first to report his disappearance for them to know what type of crime this was, and only then they could tell the whole country that a kid was missing and start to investigate this case. So his godfather, along with the whole family, begged for help, but police said the same thing, that they couldn't do anything because Rui Pedro wasn't considered a missing person yet. Like, he's a kid. Okay, we're talking about an 11-year-old boy. You're supposed to help people and you don't do anything. There's a missing kid. Like, the whole family is desperate to find him and you won't help them. So in the first few hours of his disappearance, police did absolutely nothing to help the family. So on the next day at 9 p.m., right when the court opened, his family was able to talk to a public ministry delegate, and she reached out to judiciary police, and that's when police started to help the family searching for Rui, and that's when they started to investigate this case. So during the following days, there were a lot of search organized by the police, by firefighters, and by the people of the community. But they took a lot of time to start searching for him. Like, by this time, the person who took him could already be outside of the country because they didn't close the borders. As Afonso said, like, everything was pointing to Afonso because he was the last person who saw Rui. So everything was pointing to him. And he said, if you want to find him, close the borders. And what police did? Not close the borders. And on the beginning, he wasn't considered like a kidnapping kid. Like, this case wasn't considered kidnapping. They thought that Rui had like hurt himself, so they were searching in places that he might could get hurt, and that's why he never went home. Police claim that there was not much evidence on this case, and that's why they didn't investigate this very deeply and they didn't give the attention that he needed right on the beginning. However, there were a lot of phone calls from people that were claiming that they had seen Rui, and that's when more people started to get interested in this case. And there was even a time that his mother received a phone call, and when she answered, there was like a boy speaking, and she said it seemed to be Rui's voice, but she wasn't sure. Because then, like, she heard some noise, and like it seemed that the phone was like ripped away from the kid, and then the call was hung up. So, like, we're not sure if that was actually Rui or not. And like later on, a prostitute called Alcina Diaz said that the night that Rui went missing, Afonso had taken him to meet her and told her to have sex with a kid. She noticed that Rui was nervous and he started crying, so she asked him if his mother knew he was there, and he said no, and she didn't do anything to him. When she told this to the police, she didn't mention Afonso's name because she didn't know his name, like, she only knew his face. She wasn't able to tell the police who had taken Rui to meet her. Like, it was only on 2011 that she was able to identify him on court. So by this time, Afonso is like the prime suspect, and he actually went to trial. His trial began in 2011, and on October 3rd of 2014, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for kidnapping Rui, but not for his disappearance. But he was only jailed for 2 years. On March 29th of 2017, he was released because of good behavior. For me, this is just stupid, like, because the prisoners in prison, they all have a good behavior. But it was for good behavior that they went to jail? No. So if he was sentenced to 3 years, he has to be in jail for 3 years. But that's just my opinion, like who am I? So on September 1st of 1998, so the year that Rui went missing, police arrested an international child pornography organization known as the Wonderful Club. Found more than 750,000 images and videos of more than 1,000 kids. And they were able to identify 16 of them, and Rui Pedro was one of them. However, they still had no idea where he might be, so police suspect that he was murdered by his kidnappers after they abused him. And there was also a journalist, Ana Leal, who was investigating this case, and she found more than 60,000 pictures on a computer of a pedophile who had been murdered. And she showed this to the police, and police said that there were too many false photos of Rui Pedro, because she found pictures of a boy who looked like Rui Pedro, but police didn't care about it because they said there's too many false pictures of Rui Pedro in a pedophilia website, so this never got anywhere. His mother accused the Portuguese police of incompetence because at the time they did pretty much nothing to try to find her son, and she's right. They didn't start searching for him immediately. They had to wait for the court. They had to go to the court first. Everyone started comparing this case to the Medimaket case. I already made a video about him if you want to check the video out. But because on the Medimaket case, police did everything they could to try to find her. There were patrol dogs, there were maritime police, even British police came out here to help. And the whole country asks why. Because she was British? Because her parents had money? Why? And Rui Pedro was one of us, and police did so little to try to find him and return him to his family. And that's all we know for this case. It's been 22 years since he went missing, and Afonso Dias never told anyone what he did to him or who took him and for what and where. He still says that he's innocent and he has nothing to do with it. And when he left prison, he said that he was a victim of a huge injustice. No, you weren't. I'm sorry to say this to you, but no, you weren't. You know something. You know what happened to that kid, because if you had no idea what happened to him, you will never have said that if they wanted to find him, they should close the borders. So he was taken, and whoever took him was already trying to leave the country. So you know something. And I wasn't even born when he disappeared, but I remember this case since forever. I've always heard about this case, and I really hope that one day we know the truth. His family deserves that. His mother did an interview I think it was 2 years ago, and I will link the interview down below. And the interview obviously is in Portuguese, but you don't have to understand Portuguese to hear the pain in her voice. You literally can hear the pain in her voice and how much she's been suffering. And I cried the whole interview. You can really see that she's suffering, and that woman, she never lived. She's just been surviving, and she doesn't ask to see her son anymore. She just wants to know what happened to him. She just wants to know if he's okay or not, if he's alive or dead. And she still believes that he's alive, but she's a mother, okay? There's nobody, so obviously she won't even consider that he might be dead. I really hope one day we find out the truth, because his family deserves to know the truth, at least what happened to him, and if he's dead or alive. His family deserves that. And his mother told that her father, his grandfather, he already passed away, and she said that he died without knowing what happened to his grandson, and he spent all of his fortune trying to find his grandson. He paid he paid private detectives, and even there were people that said that they had information about Rui, but asked for money. And after he gave them the money, they just disappeared and never sold anything. So they were lying. They just they literally used them for money. I don't know how a person can do such a terrible thing. Like, he passed away without knowing what happened to his grandson, and his mother says that she doesn't want to die without knowing what happened to him. Like, she doesn't even ask to see him again. Like, she would love to see him again, but obviously she's his mother, but she only asks to know what happened to him, and that she deserves to know. And it's true, she does deserve to know what happened to her son and where he is and what they did to him. I really hope this case is solved one day. And so yeah, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and leave in the comments your thoughts on this case, what you think what you think it happened, or like if you think he's dead or if you think he's still alive. Leave it all in the comments. And also, if you enjoyed my video and if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel and leave a like if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, that's all. So stay safe, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye bye.